here we're going to look at an exam type question. So we have a metal bottle stopper. It's made up from a cone topped with a sphere. The sphere has a diameter of 1 centimeter. The cone has a radius of 0.2 centimeters. The overall length of the stopper is 5 centimeters. Calculate the volume of the metal required to make the stopper. We want to round to two significant figures. So let's take a look at this information and see what we have. So the sphere has a diameter of 1 centimeter. Now if I look at my diagram, I can see that's not written in there, but we know the diameter across is going to be 1 centimeter. The cone has a radius of 0.2, that's written down there, and the overall length of the stopper is 5 centimeters. So what we want to do is we want to try and find the volume of the two separate parts and then add them together at the end to make the total. So let's start with the sphere. Now, here we know we need, if we look in the top corner here, we need the radius. So if we think about this whole diameter from the one edge to the other is 1 centimeter. Okay, so we know it's 1 centimeter. Now with this information, we also know if this whole length is 5 centimeters, that means this blue length, or the height of the cone, is going to be 5 minus 1, which is 4 centimeters. So let's take all of this information and we'll find the two volumes. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r squared. So let's take this information from our diagram and substitute it in to the formula. Well, we know it's 4/3 times pi. Now the radius is half the diameter. So if the diameter is 1, the radius is 0.5. So we will substitute in that value. So now we're going to have 4/3 times pi times 0.5 cubed. Type that in my calculator, and I will get 0.5235 and so on centimeters cubed. Next thing we want to work out is the volume of the cone. So the formula for the volume of a cone, which is going to be on your formula sheets, is 1/3 times pi times r squared times height. So we need the r squared. R squared is the radius of the cone. Now, and we need the height. Now let's look at this. We need to make sure that we realize that the radius of the cone is actually not the same radius as the sphere, so we cannot use 0.5. They've given us, it says at the top line here, the cone has a radius of 0.2 centimeters. So my radius is going to be 0.2. And we have our height. Well, we've already calculated the height of this blue line here. Height of our cone is 4 centimeters. So we're going to substitute in those values. When we substitute them in, we will have 1/3 times pi. We've replaced r, the radius, with 0.2. We've replaced the height with 4. And we can type that in our calculator and calculate, and we get 0.16755 and so on centimeters cubed. Now to get the total volume of the metal stopper required, we need to add those two together. Add the sphere and add the cone. So we'll add the sphere and add the cone, and we get 0.69 centimeters cubed. And this has been rounded to, reading the question, double checking, two significant figures. So 0.69 has been rounded to two significant figures. The 6 is the first significant figure. The 9 is the second significant figure.